Hey guys, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. Welcome to the shop again. Have several projects going on at one time. I'm getting on the cylinders again. Took a brief respite on those for a little bit there. So I'm gonna get back on them. I'm gonna show you how to make the core sticks for that. Okay, I've yet to lay them out. Well, we got them partially laid out, and that I'll show you where we're at with those. Other project I was saying in one video, I made a conical shape piece in the lathe. I want to finish that project up for Dean. That's going to be real quick. Hopefully get up to the foundry this Sunday and pour that, and then I got to pour his two other brackets plus a bunch of other stuff. So way far behind on the foundry. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish these couple projects up here. Let me put you on the stand. I'll be with you. Okay guys, here's what I'm making for Dean. I got this conical shaped piece here that I turned on the lathe. Now I got to make this fin for him. Okay, so what I got to do is this has got to be around 3.5 inches tall, and then from about here back to here is another 3.5 inches, and then from here out 6. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue some stock up for that. In between, I'm going to use this piece of stock right here, and that's going to be for show you how to make a split core box, okay, for the cylinders. All right, so here I got a piece of pine out that I had used for something else at one time. Normally when I do core sticks and that, I like to a lot of times use, or I used to use mahogany. However, I'm getting to the point with that where I'm getting low on my mahogany stock, and it's really like this, I'm going to make the stick and then I'm going to pour a core box out of plastic. That's going to be it, So I'm just going to make this out of pine today. We're going to make a split core box. I'll show you how to get the stock ready for that. And then the piece that I'm going to use on top of that is going to be for that fin, okay? So what I got here, I measured out on my layout over there. I got to get, there's actually 2 cylinders in this particular job. Usually there's only 1 hole for the cylinders. This one's got 2. All right, so I got to do both of them. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do the core sticks or the core prints just yet. So I'm going to add some additional stock, that I can cut off. It's easier to cut it off than not. Okay, so I came up with 18 inches, and then basically. It's the stock actually is my finished size has got to be 2 7/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these pieces. This is 1.5 inches. All right, so that should give me 1 inch or 1/8 of an inch to play with on the diameter of this. So what I'll do is I'm going to actually go out a little bit wider. Okay, now here's another thing too. Usually I try to get my tools out before I turn the camera on. I didn't do it, so little trick. I got the measurements marked out for my 18 inches from the end. All right, I put 2 there. There you go. It's fairly, we're roughing this out, right? So we'll go 3 1/4 and 6 1/2. 3 1/4, 6 1/2, and I usually also what I do, I'll usually cut these out on the table saw. However, I don't know if you guys can see this big casting sitting over here. Hopefully we're going to get that job. Kind of waiting for that a word on that one. So hopefully you can get that. I just don't feel like moving it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, like I said, I needed 3.5 by 3.5 by 6 on that. So this piece I got left over, it's 18 inches long and it's like 5 inches. So instead of making extra cuts and everything, what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna cut it in half. Okay, 18, so we'll go 9. All right, put 2 marks. There's a knot in there too. So I'm just gonna cut this in half. Okay, and then I'm gonna glue it together. It's gonna be a little bigger than what I need, but you know, I can use that for something else too. So I'm gonna hop over on the bandsaw, cut these out, seeing some square edges on them on the sander, and then I'm gonna show you how to start setting up for the split turning on the lathe. Okay, hang tight there, guys. Okay guys, I got these pieces cut out for my core stick, and then these are going to be for Dean's job here, okay? So what I did was, these, if you notice on the sander, what I always do, if you have, you know, a lot of guys only have 24-inch disc sanders, right? So what I do is I like to take, cut off the surface with the sander, because what it does is, like on the surface it went through the thickness planer, and especially right now, my knives and my thickness planer are long overdue for sharpening. I mean, that's what happens with us wood guys. We get lazy for maintenance on a lot of stuff. So anyhow, what I did was I took a cut off the sander. That makes a nice, flat, smooth surface, okay? So all I'm going to do with these things, I'm going to book these together with some glue, put some clamps on it, okay? So the one that I really want to show you guys get into here is the split core stick, okay? So same thing, I got a nice flat surface, okay, on the sander, and then I got one square edge, okay? So like I say all the time with us guys, what we like to do is we like to start everything square and straight as we can. Alright, this is kind of, you know, you might want to say, well, it's kind of stupid because we're going to be turning it, right? Well, here, I need a flat, perfectly flat parting line, okay? Alright, so the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to get it to thickness, or not thickness, I'm sorry, it's already to thickness. I'm going to get a width on here, okay? And the reason I'm doing this, it will be coming up here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get my thickness here, or my width, I'm sorry. Oh, that's weird. Got the wrong side there here. Okay. Get my width marked out here on both pieces. And then I got the wrong pencil over here. I got my marking knife. And what I'm going to do is, these have to be, I'm going to do them the same length, alright, but we'll do this. These have to be the same length, and I need square ends, and like I said, I'll show you why in a minute here, okay? I'm just not doing too good today with getting everything prepared here. Yeah, that way I don't have to, usually like to try to get stuff done so I don't, this is there's so much stuff going on here. Okay, so I got these ends marked. What I'll do is I'm going to get off camera here. I'm going to sand these things up so they should be square, okay? Square to the right width, to the same width, and to the same length, alright? Hang tight, guys. Okay guys, back. What I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to put some glue on this, get this thing going. We should have done this first. Try to when you're doing stuff, try to, you want to do things efficiently. So this is something, this particular part right here, it's got to sit in the clamps for quite a while, right? So I should have done this pretty quick here. Usually what I do too, when I glue blocks up like this, I'll put a nail on each side. You know, I'm just gonna clamp this up real quick. Like I said, this is just a quick thing here. You know, normally too, I like to keep this in the clamps like overnight. Maybe I'm just gonna do a couple hours. We're gonna do this pattern. We're gonna make a pattern out of this thing. I'm gonna pour a casting off of this thing. So, you know, or two. See if we get a good one right off the bat, right? So anyhow, this is there's that. I'm gonna let that sit for a couple hours. Okay, now back to the my split core stick here. Okay, so I got a nice parting line. I was put the little PL there. Okay, so I got the parting line. One of the things I didn't do too, I always keep a little piece of, if you see on my bench here, I always got a little piece of sandpaper here. You gotta deburr this a little bit. That could affect things, okay? So you want to deburr them a little bit. Alright. The other thing I keep on trying to forget to say, okay, I got the parting line too. Plus, I marked, this is the original square edge I had, okay? So I got a couple X's on here, that's my original square edge, okay? Always mark your original square edge, that way you can go back to it. You know, if you got something that's square in that, you know, one side might be a little bit off, a little unparalleled, and that you go to use that as your square edge after you've been using the opposite side for a while. You know, that could get you off. So always go back to your original square straight surfaces, okay? So I know that my parting line was my flat edge and that my X line is the square side, okay? Alright, so next what I'm going to do is, if you guys haven't seen this, I used these once before already. They're split centers, okay? Those go in a wood lathe. This one's a stationary, this goes in the head and the spindle. It gives it power. We've got another one that goes in the tail stock at the end. That's a live center. It's the exact same thing, okay? So these, I know the standard rule, okay? They're an inch wide, okay? And it's 3/4 of an inch deep, okay? So what I gotta do is I gotta cut a notch out on each end of these pieces of wood, okay? Now the width from my, I'm getting backwards again here. My thickness, okay, from my parting line up, I gotta be perfectly a 1/2 inch, okay? Now this is perfectly 1 inch in here, so it's gotta be a perfect 1/2 inch from here to here, okay? And the reason for that is you know, we're making a split, either, you know, split, it's got to be a core stick, but if you're making a split pattern, it's got to be exactly, when you're doing cylindrical, it's got to be exact, okay? You know, parting line, you know, up. So these are like 1.5 inches. So it's got to be, you know, parting line 1.5 inches up perfect, parting line 1.5 inches below perfect, okay? So what I do, what I first do, and then the depth wise, 3/4, the way I do it all the time too, I always like to have that piece of wood go all the way back for several reasons. It keeps the piece square, straight, true, and it's got a lot more, you know, strength in there too, okay? So what I do first is I get my marking gauge out to 3/4 of an inch, okay, and then usually I have these screwed or pinned. I probably should have done that first. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff going today. Okay, so I'm gonna mark this 3/4 of an inch on both sides, okay, or both ends, and not both sides, I should say, both ends. Yeah, well, I'm thinking of this too. Okay, a little bit off subject here. Foundries go good. I got up there yesterday, did a bunch of Y pipes. Half of them came out. I think I poured the metal too. I don't have a pyrometer. I think the metal was too not up to temperature, but about half of them came out. So I'm gonna see how that's gonna go. Then I did a section the other day on acquiring materials, and one of the viewers out there, Tobo Mod, he's been contributing quite a bit. One of the things he mentioned, I was primarily doing it more for like shop supplies, not so much the foundry stuff. I did mention foundry stuff in here, so. But what happens is too, one of the things he mentioned was, get to know for foundry metal, and get to know some mechanics. I actually have a real good friend. He just retired as a mechanic. He actually became ill. He developed MS, so he had to kind of retire early. But what he would do is, he would save his aluminum wheels up. Aluminum wheels are like one of the best aluminums you can get for casting. Usually they make them out of what's called 319 aluminum. That's one of the better aluminums, really good. All right, so you can do that. A lot of times what you can do is, like I told you in that same video, I had a big bronze ring, okay? So what happened with that was, my customer, I can't remember the exact numbers, but he paid something like $4 a pound for that. Now that's about what that yellow brass I got the other day is about what that went for. So he paid $4 for that. Well, when he didn't use it, took it back to the scrapyard. The guy only wanted to give him $1.80 for it. So he didn't want to take, that's what, $2.20 times 220 pounds, that's a lot of money lost. It's like, what, 300 something bucks, right? So what I did was, instead of me paying $4, we came somewhere in the middle. So he didn't lose as much, but I'm not paying as much for when I go out to the scrapyard to buy it. And that particular bronze is actually that bronze that I make those keys out of. So I set aside a few chunks of that for when I make those keys for my Warner and Swayze buddy. And then down the road too, I'll actually, that particular bronze is used in like valves and in actually steam valves, specific for steam valves. So I'm going to luck out there. I actually have a couple castings I got to make for a full-size steam locomotive too. We'll take you down to foundry and do those. So. And Tobo is really cool with that, like I said, my guy, my mechanic, I got that radiators, it's a thing where, I always fight with guys. I've had some fights. I used to be on Chasky Home Machine, and, I think the first week I was on there, I'm not great at typing and spelling, so but one of the guys is getting into the foundry aspect of it, and he was asking, where to get aluminum and what types of aluminum to buy. So one of the guys on there that's been on there quite a while, the guy's knowledgeable, but he doesn't know everything either too, but he basically told the guy to go buy pig. Well, it's pig iron for the most part. You get alloyed aluminum. Buy alloyed aluminum in ingots. I mean, you're talking anywhere from like $48 a pound. And for a home guy, definitely, yeah, that's ridiculous. You can't do that. So if you find, watch a lot of the YouTube stuff, there is actually a guy out there. I'll try to get his link if I remember. I always forget this stuff. But he explains the different metals, and a lot of, if you want the higher grade aluminums, usually the extruded aluminums are the higher grade ones, okay? So, look for those. I'll beg to differ with people with pop cans. Nobody, it's a waste of time doing pop cans, blah, blah, blah. I tell you one thing, it's free aluminum. you know, you do waste a lot because they're anodized. I noticed a lot of them now, they're coming with like plastic sleeves over them and now, but you know, I'm making my flasks out of those. It's costing me absolutely nothing. We will get into this a little bit more down the road. You know, I want this a foundry thing, but we'll get into the pop cans and stuff down the road here. So get back to the, you know, if you can melt metal too, your mechanics, the brake pad or the brake pads, the rotors, and that, I mean that's good iron, you know. So that's what you know, my old mechanic buddy, you know, he'd save up the iron for me too, and I take that to my one customer that does iron castings, and instead of charging him, what we do is we figure out a price here again less than what he, you know, would get at the scrap, or have to pay the scrapyard for them, and that, and then we get in between somewhere. What I do is we save it up where instead of him paying me cash, he barters some, you know, cast iron castings for me because I can't do cast iron yet. So that's, yeah, that's a great, you know, thing what Tobo came out with is, yeah, mechanics are great. Another big one too is a buddy of mine, his brother-in-law's a contractor. They do a lot of kitchens and bathrooms, and you know, he keeps on bringing me sink faucets, you know, just chunks of copper pipe and, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know, stuff out of the bathrooms and kitchens and that. And I'm like, dude, why don't you save these things up and take them to the scrapper? He's like, you know what, I just don't want them laying around. You know, you can use them down at your foundry. So, you know, look into the plumbers, okay, if you know any guys do, you know, does plumbing and that. Another thing, if you want to get into brass, you know, doing brass and bronze too, there's a plumbing place by us out in the back. He's got probably 1,000 water heaters just stacked literally mounds high. You know, he's going to get like $1.50 for the brass off those water heaters. Go off from $1.75 a pound because it's going to cost you $3. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, get into those guys. You know, offer them 10 cents more a pound than what they're going to get at the scrap yard, right? And they'll probably take it, and then you're going to be paying way less than what the scrap yard guys are going to charge you, you know. So just, you know, a couple different ways. Let's get back on the pattern making here, okay? So I got my 3/4 line all the way around. That's the depth of this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rough 1/2 inch for the thickness here. Okay, and like I said, it's rough because this thing's got to be exact. What I'm going to do, a little trick with this, I'm saying it's got to be exact. I'll show you what I'm going to do. Instead of taking like my micrometers out or that, I'm going to get it close to the 1/2 inch on a bandsaw, and then we're going to put the 2-inch sander disc in the drill press, okay? And then what I'm going to do, and like I said, instead of using micrometers, you just, you know, try to see if it fits. You know, put the 2 pieces on, try to see if it fits up, take a little bit more off, flip the other side, take a little bit more off, and then, you know, that's the way you get those, right? I'll show you in a sec. Alright, hang tight. So what I'm going to do, I got some rough lines here. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take these over to the bandsaw, and for the depth, the 3/4 inch depth, let me show you this real quick. I'll get you guys close up here. Like I said, I'm working without a cameraman. Joe's been really busy with his apprenticeship here. Okay, so here's my 1/2 inch line up here, and then my 3/4. So the 3/4, I'm just gonna bandsaw. That's gonna be good enough. Leave it. Now I'll bandsaw this a little full, and then I'll be able to sand that down. That will sand down. All right. So let me mark all this stuff out, and I'll get back with you with that. Okay. Okay, guys, over here on the bandsaw, skipped an important step. I started cutting those notches out. Okay. One of the biggest things you gotta do when you turn what I do is I get rid of some of the excess stock. I'll show you how I do that, okay? So what I should have done was, I got my center, I put my radius as far out as the width and height goes, okay? And then I put a mark 45, all right? And then I got these lines here, and let me show you what I'm going to do with those. I'm going to finish notching this one real quick, and then I'll show you what. Here's another thing too real quick. I'm going to cut these on a 45, all right? This table tilts on a 45, so it's not an issue for me to do it. If your table doesn't tilt, okay, I marked 45-degree line on this. I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to use that kind of as a fence. I'll show you how to do that. Hang tight. Okay, I got all my notches cut. Alright, and I'm going to cut this. Doesn't have to be perfect. This really means not anything, it's just getting rid of some excess stock, okay? Okay, I got one side cut, okay? Get rid of that. Okay, now safety thing. Watch where that thumb is. Don't run it into the blade, okay? Okay. Okay guys, at the drill press I got my sander pad in there. I'm going to have to crank this down. No, I'm not. Okay, so I'm just going to barely touch on this. Alright. I can go down a little bit more. Alright. Like I said, when you're doing this, hang on to it. Alright, give her a try. And, oh man, that's like perfect right off the bat. Got real lucky on that one. That is pure luck right there, man. Okay, so go over here and I'll show you the rest of what we're going to do here. Okay guys, another thing I forgot to do was put this diameter on here, okay? Now what that is that's the diameter of the split centers, okay? So you jam those on, get them in center, and if it's off a little bit, you know, I mean, it's not a huge thing. Probably should use a mallet, not steel. Okay, so this is the, it's going to go in the headstock, alright? So like I said, this particular part can be off just a little bit. It's because I'm going to create my own center as it's turning, okay? So it's just the thickness, you got to make sure that's pretty much perfect, alright? So the other thing with these 45-degree angles, basically all that is I'm going to turn a cylinder here, so I wanted to get that excess stock off. It makes it easier on the lathe. Okay, it's not turning as much weight. I mean, this is really is not much, but it's way easier when you turn too. Like I said, one of the things I probably should really get into a little more, you know, especially for guys just starting out, is like the wood and the wood grain, okay? So if the wood grain, instead of going perfectly straight, if it's kind of dashing off here, if you got that square corner, as you get to one side, that has a tendency to just take it big chunks off if the grain's not running straight, you know. So that's one of the reasons we do this also. It has less of a chance to do things like that too. All right, it's easier on your tool bits. It's just easier all the way around. So that's why you do it. And like I said, if your table doesn't tilt on an angle, you know, just cut a little 45-degree block like I did. You have to cut the one side and then just rest it on the side that you just cut. You got 45 degrees. You know, if this is 42 or 43 degrees, no big deal. We're going to put this on the lathe and turn this into a circle pretty soon here, okay? So it's not much. We're just getting rid of some excess stock, okay? So that's all that is, all right? That particular part doesn't have to be perfect, all right? So just your thickness on this, it's got to be half inch, okay? And that's how, like I said, we did each side, so I knew each side's the same because we ran it underneath the, you know, little head over there, okay? So that should be perfect. I'm going to get this set up in the lathe ready to go. I got to do some other preps, you know, to do it. So let me get that stuff done, and we'll go over on the lathe and putz around over there for a little bit, all right? So hang tight for a minute, okay? Okay, guys. Little sidetrack here. I got the cylinder core sticks ready to get turned up. I will turn them with you guys in that. It's kind of towards the end of the day. I'm gearing down. I like to spend another hour or so out in the shop after I get work related stuff done and do some stuff for things that I want to get done. I got a lot of projects I got to get done, you know. So one of the projects I want to get done, I have a lot of people give me their scrap and that. So I have a lot of people giving me aluminum and that, and a lot of zinc. So I got a lot of zinc castings in there. I got buckets full of them. So what I want to start doing is, I told you in one of the things, I don't normally like to make ingots, you know, solely in that, but with the zinc, what I'm going to do, it's such a low melting temperature, I'm kind of having a feeling, I got a turkey fryer, so I'm going to try to do some on there. Literally one night, we had a fire inside, and it was so hot in there, I poured a couple things in there real quick, but it's not the smartest thing to do inside your house, you know. So I didn't really have a good ingot mold. We made that one real big ingot mold the other day. You know, I'm starting to make some stuff for, I'm going to make available to, you know, home foundry guys. Okay, so anyhow, here's, I started working on this. You know, like I said, I'm going to try to get as much going with you guys as I can here and that. But, you know, we did the one, so I figured that's not a big deal. So one of the things I'm doing right now, I'm starting to put the rounds on the corners here, okay? So what I decided to do is, you know, normally what I'll do is just go over to the sander, sand them, get this close enough. I want to make this halfway decent, nice looking, because I want to, like I said, make it available to other people, okay? So I'm going to do these by hand, okay? Yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer, but what I can show you guys how to do this by hand, because like not everybody's got the 24-inch disc sander, right? So basically what you can do is, I mean, you can, you know, mark the quarter, the 45-degree, you know, cut it out roughly first in that. But for me, you know, I usually, what I'm going to use is a, you know, this is solely for guys, you might not even have a bandsaw, okay? Nice little block plane. What you can do with these is just, it's unbelievable. I mean, these things are such a versatile little piece of hand equipment, okay? You can always pick these up, like I say, garage sales, flea markets and that. I mean, these things are really, really handy in pattern making, okay? And this is one of the biggest things that they're handy for, okay? So I'm putting this radius on here, okay? We'll couple things with this, you know, if I use a die grinder, I could use a die grinder with a disc on it. The thing is, it's gonna kind of be waverly in that, okay? So with this, I got a nice straight edge here. So as I'm planing, you know, it's keeping a fairly straight edge, right? So, you know, you could get it a lot straighter, a lot nicer than with a disc grinder. On a, you know, use a 4-inch disc grinder if you got like a little die grinder, right angle die grinder with a little 2-inch pad. I use that a lot. Hey, you could do it like that. Then you could, what you can do too is you take your, you know, sanding block. Here, just get a whole bunch of stuff going here. You know, sanding block, you know, you can make it straight again with your sanding block also. All right, but like I said, I'm kind of the traditional guy, so I'm going to do it this way. All right, so how do I know how I'm getting a really good perfect radius, okay? So I've got my radius gauge out, okay? And as you're planing along, you know, you go ahead and you check your radius with your radius gauge, all right? So once you start getting close, what I do, I take a piece of mahogany or some other hardwood. I try to do it with hardwood as much as I can. All right, so I got a 1/2-inch radius in here. All right, and then what you do is we get the kindergarten crayons, those real big thick crayons. So if you got a dollar store around you, these big thick crayons, these are actually a little bit thinner too. I usually get the real big thick ones. These thicker crayons, and you know, we can find like big buckets of sidewalk chalk. Sidewalk chalk, we'll use those. I think I might spend the time, my main workbench is getting a little out of flat, so we might, you know, I might show you how to get that flat with a big joiner plane, hand plane, okay? So what you do is you take a darker crayon. So I got purple here. All right, get it in there, and then you just rub it along where you're working. And I don't know if this is going to come on the camera, but I don't know if you can see that purple there. Okay, so I can see the crayon where it hits. So I'm just going to take my hand plane and just hit the my little block plane here, and I'm just going to hit where that purple crayon is. Okay, now one of the things I didn't mention with this too, all right, this, I got 10 degrees on here. All right, so when you make your radius template, okay, you see how I got it flattened off. It's, you know, you don't want a 90-degree in there. You want to peel it back a little bit. That way, you know, I can get in there and I'm not hitting this 10-degree side. Okay, so I got that there, and a little more. You gotta do this quite a bit. And then actually after a while what happens too is the crayon actually starts kind of hardening on here too. So all I do is I take my marking knife, scrape it out every once in a while, you know, or, you know, a little piece of sandpaper in that. So I gotta watch too, because I put some nails in here. Usually I don't put nails in patterns, and that's why you don't put nails in patterns. All right, because of you know, you might want to do this stuff. I'm actually, I think, getting to the point where I might start sanding here too. Let's get a. So yeah, what's happening here? You're probably not gonna be able to see it. I got a couple high spots, but for the most part, what happens is, you know, you start seeing crayon everywhere, basically, right? So, you know, that's going to be pretty close with your regular. I don't know if you can see that. We're pretty much right there. All right. Once I sand it up, we're going to be golden there. Okay. So now, got the grain going this way. All right, so this is end grain, real bare to do end grain. Well, here with these, the little block planes, get these nice and sharp. You literally can, plane a lot of I mean, that's just, boom, coming off. Like I said, I gotta watch these nails. I just hit one. So I got my nail set right here. Alright, so what you want to do too, as I'm planing, alright, you can see I got just one flat spot, okay? So what's happening is that flat spot's getting wider and wider and wider and wider, so it's actually putting more resistance against the blade, okay, because it's getting wider. So I'm getting to the point with this where, alright, I'm going wide. Well, here now, let's start getting the edges, alright? And then we're back to a little tiny spot, you know, so. You know, but I mean, like, just nice, sharp, nice sharp little hand plane. Boy, it does wonders, you know. And like I say too, honestly, you know, I do pretty good with this stuff. And, you know, I can admit when I can't do things that, I mean, I can sharpen like I say, but there are guys that are phenomenal with some sharpening lessons and that. And those, you know, find some of those guys. Those guys are just, they're awesome. And, anyways, actually, if I can remember too, get Joe. I used to, one of the things in my introduction I didn't say, and it's probably because I haven't been into it too much lately, but in my later high school years, well, yeah, actually I did say, I did mention this. I crewed on an old wooden sailboat right out of high school, and as I was going to start a boat repair business, so here and there I'll watch some stuff online about guys repairing boats, fixing boats and that. Yeah, so I found one, Samson Boat Repairs. The English guy came over, he's repairing a boat up in Oregon, I think Oregon or Washington. But how I found it, I'm always watching Foundry things and that, and he actually had some bronze castings cast, so I started watching, you know, more of the tapes that he had, and this guy, he's a younger guy, phenomenal woodworker. I mean, this guy, if you watch the way he handles his tools, you know, he gets his block planes out. I mean, those things must be like razor sharp. He's just so unbelievable. They put the planking on, he's putting the bung plugs in, and just knocking those things off so quick. His chisel, you probably could have shaved with it. It was so unbelievable. So, you know, for some, like I said, if I keep on forgetting Joe, or to ask Joe to put these links on all the time for me and that, you know, so I'll try to remember for Joe, but it's Samson Boat Repair if you look that up. And guy's a phenomenal woodworker. So, I mean, it's always good to, hey, see, even pattern making woodworkers, okay, and it's, you know, always good to see other good woodworkers and that. And like I said, I'm kind of maybe stuck in the past a little bit, and I like to do things traditionally. I think it's actually a good thing to learn the old traditional ways too. It's just good for the soul, I think, too, you know. And I get really, I really do. I mean, you can feel, I mean, it's because I do it all the time and that, but you just, it's just like relaxing. It's therapeutic, hugely therapeutic. So it's good. And like I said, I just like to watch other guys do it. And there's ways where, like I said, I've been here in this shop for 14 years. So there's always new products, new techniques, and everything coming out. So I've been kind of missing out on that, not being in the shops and that. So, you know, that's one thing I miss out on. But try to get on YouTube and watch some things for different techniques and that. So, but, you know, watch some other guys too. You know, definitely watch Mito. Yeah, I really need you guys to watch out. And with that, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sign off for today. And then what we'll do is I'll pick back up on the cylinder, turning the cylinders and that. I'll show you how that, definitely want to show you how that goes. That's going to be really interesting because, like I said, we got some offset partings we're going to have to do that's really kind of trick. It's difficult for me to do, but if you guys see it, it might help click things like easier stuff, down the road for you guys. So we'll do that. So I'm going to sign off for today. Appreciate it if you guys subscribe, push the like button for me, and see what we can do to keep this thing going. Okay, guys? Everybody have a good one out there, and everybody stay safe.